Everyone talks about retention, but most people fail at it. Why is that? It's not because they don't want to do it, but it's because they don't know how to do it long term. Today, I'll give you the real masterclass where we will talk about the benefits, the problems, and the system you need if you actually want to succeed on retention long term. If you clicked on this video, then you've probably encountered a lot of SR videos before, and you've decided to do it because there's all of these benefits such as more energy, more motivation, more drive, more focus and discipline, all that. And all of those benefits are true and real, but the most important benefit, the ultimate benefit, isn't just more energy, just better focus or attraction. The real benefit is that it forces you to become the kind of man who can actually do it. Because retention isn't easy, and to succeed at it, you have to structure your entire life around it. Just think about it. If you spend your days scrolling TikTok, playing video games for hours, eating junk food and just chasing instant dopamine, do you really think that you'll be able to retain long term? Of course not, because your whole life is built around quick fixes. Now compare that to someone who has structure. He has goals he's chasing, daily habits that keep him disciplined, his health is in check, he has a system for reflection and growth. That man has a foundation that makes retention not only possible, but natural. Because retention thrives in order and not in chaos. So yes, retention gives you energy, focus, confidence, all of that. But the deeper truth is that retention transforms you into someone who builds structure, alignment, and self-mastery. And that is the real benefit. Now, here's the problem with retention. It's not a lack of desire, meaning that everyone wants the benefits, everyone wants to do it, more energy, more focus, more confidence. We all want that, and we want to do the things that get us to that. But the real issue is that most guys have no idea on how to actually sustain it. And usually it plays out in one of two ways. First, they're either stuck in a PMO addiction, meaning that they're unable to control that part of themselves, and due to that compulsive behavior, they're constantly releasing. And the second point is that even if they do manage to retain, they don't know how to handle that primal built up raw energy because it builds up pressure, right? And instead of mastering it, the pressure crushes them. That's why most people fail, not because they don't want it, but because they don't know how to channel it and build the structure needed to make it sustainable long term. And that's what I want to offer you today, a solution to this problem. Because if you want to retain long term, you need it. So the first one is to address your PMO issue. If you're someone who struggles with that, you need to understand that it's a mental programming that has been created over years of exposure. And willpower alone will not help you break free from that. What you need is a systematic approach that you can consistently do to create new neural pathways that helps your brain align and become someone who does not PMO anymore. And what that looked like for me, who was someone who struggled for 10 plus years, was to create a system. And the system I created is named Accountabilio. What we do in the Accountabilio method is to acknowledge that there's a part of us that we call the parasite that is addicted. And that part will trigger urges, and those urges will tell you to relapse just one more time. You've probably noticed this before. You're retaining, you've built up a decent streak, and then there's this part in you that starts to whisper and telling you that, hey man, you need to release, you need to do it one more time, you saw this post on Instagram, just do it, get it over with, and tomorrow we will start a new streak. It's all good, man, just do it. And you end up relapsing, and boom, there you go. You lost your streak, and you've also engaged in a behavior that does not align with your values or who you want to be, and you believe the lies once again, so it kind of enforced that addicted part in you. So what we do in the Accountability method is that we have a whole system set up. We tap into that part that is addicted, the parasite as we like to call it, and we write out exactly what it's telling us. And the reason we do this is to train our brains to acknowledge that, okay, I'm triggered, the parasite is making these rationalizations, I'm just going to write them out and identify them. It's as if you're talking to someone that you know are lying 100%. You're identifying the lies as they speak. and you know not to trust it. That part we call the unwiring process, because you're unwiring the lies from the addicted self. And after you've done this, we have a module where you rewire the truth. And the truth is that you do not want to engage in this behavior. If the lies told you that you need it because you're stressed, then the truth is you do not want to use PMO to relieve your stress, because it doesn't relieve stress. It just numbs you out so you can't feel it. Do you really think that sitting in front of your screen in your room, locked away in the dark, and doing it to pixels on the screen is relieving stress? When you write it out like that, you just realize how stupid it is, and you take away the powers from the urge. But not only that, you're teaching your brain to seek out the solution for your stress, because it's not PMO. The solution for your stress is something much healthier, but you train yourself to recognize, okay, these are the lies, this is what they're telling me, this is the truth. And when you repeat this process enough times, you hardwire it. You get a paradigm shift where you see PMO not as a solution, but as a lie, which is exactly what it is. So once you have dealt with that addicted part, you'll be able to retain for so much longer, because there's not this addicted persona in you that's just making you release left and right. And if you want some more information on it, you can check out this video, or you can go to the link in the description below and get started right away to deal with your addiction. The second part is life structure. Listen, man, if you want to retain long term, you can't just wish-wash around and hope to do it accidentally. It doesn't work that way. What you're dealing with is real, raw, primal energy, and if you do not handle it carefully, it can explode left and right, okay? So you need to build a structure around you. You need to have times that you wake up in the morning, and you need to specifically know what you need to do. It could be that you sit down to journal and reflect to find your headspace and notice where you're at today. Maybe you're underslept, so you need to be a bit more careful on how you engage with certain things, because if you're underslept, you might be more prone to bad behaviors, so keep that in mind. Maybe you have a lot to do, and since you have a lot to do, you need to structure that so you don't get in a state of stress, because a state of stress can make you unstable and more prone to explode. Or that you need to go to the gym because you have so much energy and you just need to remove it or use it up. There's things of this nature, and I cannot give you the blueprint for yourself, but you need to have structure. You need to have a way to find out what you need to do. And for me, it looks more like I wake up in the morning, I have a certain set of habits that I do. I like to do the Wim Hof method, I like to cold shower, I pray, and then I journal, just to get my headspace in the right order, and then I plan out the rest of my day. So I'll get to work. I'm a real estate agent, which is a very highly stressful job, and there's just a lot going on. So I sit down to write out exactly what I need to do. I'm creating structure, and then I have methods to do that effectively so that I don't get in a state of stress. And once I get home, I know what I will eat, what foods are leaving me with more energy than they're taking away, and then I'll go to the gym to use that excess energy I have. So normally I go to martial arts, and if I'm not going to martial arts training, I do jiu-jitsu. If I'm not going there, then I'll go lift some weights or I'll run. All right, so that's my structure, but you need to build your own that works for you. When to release? This is a question that we get a lot, especially at Accountabilio. And the answer is that you need to decide for yourself. It's not only about how often you release, but also how you release. Because if you release with PMO, then obviously that's the worst form. Like, there's never a time to really do that. It is the worst. It is destroying your brain. It is relieving you of this energy in such a bad way that it's wasteful, and you just feel depleted afterwards. So there's really no way to ever do this. But if you get to a point where you have retained for so long that you feel that it's a bit more overwhelming, there are two things. You need to identify which part of you that's need leveling up, where you can do more, is what I'm trying to say. Because if you feel like you have overwhelming energy, then it could be that there's a lot of untapped potential in you. And this is normally the part we recommend that you follow, because it is what will lead to growth, like personal growth, financial growth, spiritual growth. You will become a high achiever if you manage to break this barrier. But if you feel like it's too much and you don't really know what to do, then a release once in a while would be okay. And the best way to do it would be with a loving partner, not some random hookup, although I won't go into that. But if you have a partner that you love, then you could do it with them in a way that is passionate and not a way that is lustful or just for personal pleasure or gratification. And if you do not have a loving partner, then you could spend that excess energy into becoming someone who can find a loving partner. But if you feel like there's a time to do it right now and there's no one around to do it with, then the best way is to do it yourself, but in a meditative state. Not just like a quick fix, but try to deeply meditate and feel every sensation. Connect to your breath and try to cycle that energy around. Make sure that it's almost like a treatment, like it's a retreat, and you're just dwelling into your body, connecting with it, and you're not thinking about these lustful thoughts. You're tapping into the feeling of your body, and you're just breathing it around until you end up releasing. Just make sure not to get to a point where you're compulsive again. Because if you are compulsive, it means that there's an addiction, and then you need to go back to deal with that, which you do with accountability. So yeah, guys, retention without structure can be like torture, but retention with structure is a transformation. The real mastery isn't just holding it in, it's building the system that makes it sustainable so that you can do it long term, and then you have the approaches you need to take to make sure this process levels you up and not just crushes you with streaks and counting days and just back and forth. It can be a negative cycle if you just focus on counting the days and then you relapse and then you beat yourself up and then say, I'm gonna use my willpower to get it to the next level. It doesn't work like that, man. You need a structure, because if you want to make it a powerful and life-changing thing, you need alignment, you need habits and consistency. That's how you take the retention from hype to mastery.